Hey, what's up, iSURFTRIBE Nation across the globe, around the world? What's happening? So this week I decided to take out Atua's longboard 9.0. Actually, it's like a 9.5 inch. And getting a little bit older, getting a little bit heavier, and just feeling like I want something to equalize. I've been surfing a 6.0, 6.2 for so many years, and it's getting harder and harder to compete with all these 16, 18, 20-year-olds that weigh 50 to 70 pounds less than me. Just kidding. But anyways, I've been, wanting to get on a longboard, so I decided to take out the longboard and kind of talk you guys through some of the stuff that goes through my head, some of the differences, some of the stuff that maybe can help some beginners out. So first thing, paddling out, I'm like, man, this is great. I got out so quickly. That there was a punch through the waves. So of course, the only thing about longboards is it can be harder to get through waves. So that was punching through the waves. Every beginner should know how to do that. Small waves, you just paddle right over, punch through it. And this is a turtle roll. Now notice how long it takes me to turtle roll. Upside down, wave passes over, then I got to flip back over, then I got to get it back on the board, and then I start paddling. And turtle rolls are great for bigger waves or heavy waves, but they actually are really slow in developing, especially if you're a big guy. Now notice here, boom, I do a duck dive. So that's what I want to talk about here. So I'm going to do a slow motion version, talk you guys through it. So when I do a longboard duck dive or a bigger board, what I do is I approach it a little bit earlier, a little bit about 5 degrees off, and then notice how I push the right side down. So I'm pushing the right side like scooping a side scoop and push, and then I'm using my left foot, not my knee, to kick the board, kind of like a side scoop. Then I straight into the wave, and then notice here I actually kick the left side back up so it floats up, because a longer, bigger board is harder to push under, a lot harder, but it also takes longer to get up. And the name of the game is getting on your board and paddling as quickly as possible. So you do that to actually get the board up quicker once you've done the duck dive. Notice one more time. Side swipe, boom, kick the left side back up. And that's the technique. So if you already know how to duck dive, you can play around, and this works on bigger boards as well. The next thing I like to do is when I get out the back, I like to practice my seated turn. So I start with 1 foot, make sure that I can turn with just 1 foot, and then I incorporate 2 feet to make sure they are working together, because if they're going against each other, you're not going to turn, you're just going to stay straight. Notice how I'm doing it. So they're going in the same direction, and then to make it even better, you add an arm to paddle, basically pull paddle with it, and you get this down. Make sure you do both ways equally as well, and your wave count will go way up, especially on longboards, because that's the name of the game, is getting in position and spinning to the wave and catching it. And the faster you can do a seated turn, the better. You're going to catch a lot more waves. You're going to have a lot higher wave count. Next thing I like to do, and I do this on shortboards, is I stretch. As soon as I get out the back, after I've warmed up through the paddle, I'll do 1 foot stretch, other foot for balance, then I switch it, 1 foot stretch, and I just kind of do variations of stretch. I'll stretch my arms over, I'll kind of turn to the side, then I put both feet on there, and it's kind of like my balance drill. This is a lot harder than it looks. It's actually, on a shortboard, this can be tricky, and if you can get to where you can balance like that, you're going to have pretty good balance, at least in the sitting motion. So straight to catching waves, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, I caught that wave so easy. When you're a big guy surfing small boards, you're used to powering into waves, hustling into waves, and all of a sudden you're just gliding into waves. And made me think, like, why am I not doing this more often? Why am I not longboarding or getting on? So this is actually a high performance longboard. So it's a 9.0, but it's only about 21, 22 inches wide, and it's only a little bit thicker than 2.5 inches. So it's a very low volume board, but still a 9-foot board is going to be hard to duck dive no matter what, just because of the sheer surface of it. So basically went out and I was just catching wave after wave after wave. And if you notice, I'm kind of surfing it like a shortboard. So this is a high performance board, so they are kind of designed to surf a little bit more like a shortboard, so I can do cutbacks and things like floaters and stuff like that. It took me a while to get used to it, so the first like 3 or 4 waves were throwaway waves that didn't make the video, didn't make the cut. But then I kind of started to get my groove, and you can see here I'm totally surfing this like a shortboard. You can see I'm kind of whipping the turns. The key is to really make sure you get that back foot back, because there's a cutback. Is you might think that you're far enough back, and then you look down at your feet and you'll realize you're like nowhere near as far back as you should be. So anyways, that was that. Just kept surfing, and actually I surfed for about 2.5 hours on this session, and most of the waves didn't make the cut because it would have been like a 16-17 minute video But I surfed for about 2.5 hours, and I counted the clips of actual waves that I stood up on and went down the line, and it was like something like 35 waves. It might have been like 36, 37 waves, but it was just wave after wave after wave. And it wasn't like a super consistent day or anything. It was just, being able to get to every single wave. So anyways, that was the last wave of the day. I think this is the last wave of the day, and just call it in. Take it all the way in, surf it like a shortboard. I'll probably surf on this board a lot more. One more little foam climb, boom, and call it a wrap. So that's that, surfing a longboard. I hope maybe some of these tips give you guys some ideas of things that you can do to take a bigger board out there. Now you know it was me. Surfing a bigger board. A lot of people, I think, surf boards way too small, and there's no real reason for it, just because you see the pros doing it. So anyways, that's it.